I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I want to talk about a new camera. It lives in this, which isn't the largest, most crazy size bag, really. But if I take out the dark cloth, I can bring it out and show it to you. It's a 5x7 Seneca camera. It's called an improved Seneca view camera from 1906. It's in black ebony wood. It's quite beautiful with nice chrome hardware. This was at a local estate sale. And I bid on it when I had to go to teach a class, and I couldn't really watch the auction. And it was at $50 for the whole week up until the time that I made my bid. And I thought, And at the auction, I put in my bid of $125. And I figured I could probably spend $125 on a camera. It had a lens with it. It had a back with it. It was in pretty good condition. And I ended up getting it for $125. So I went to pick it up, and I was really happy with what I saw. I was happy with the quality. It had a 1906 Wallensack lens on it that is not on it right now. It was one of those old brass lenses that you often see. But it was in good shape, and I was impressed by how somebody locally had this 5x7 camera. And 5x7, as you may have heard from me, is my favorite format for large format. Because 5x7, you don't need a 5x7 and larger. You can contact print a 5x7 negative onto a piece of 8x10 paper, and it's ready to frame and hang. A 4x5 is a little too small for that. You kind of need it in larger, and you need to be able to make a print larger than 4 inches by 5 inches. But 5x7 is perfect. 8x10 is good too, but the cameras are significantly bigger. You need to print on 11x14 paper to get a border, and I prefer 5x7. So when this deal showed up, I'm like, I'm going to put a bid on it. I'm going to go to class, and we'll see. And when I got out of class, I saw that it had won the auction. So I went up the next day, and I picked it up. And I had gotten a call from a woman in Denver who said, I'm visiting my folks in Denver, and they have some Nikon gear that they want to donate to your students. And I said, okay. And I talked to her, and she said, I'm going to be leaving back for California where I live, but here's their information. You can reach out to them. They'll meet up with you, and you can stop by and pick it up. I'm like, okay. So I had scheduled it for the next day to go down to Denver and pick it up. And I thought, maybe I'll take this and I'll find some place to do a portrait of somebody. And so I went down, I picked up the Nikon gear, and the man of the couple, it was an older man and older woman, he said, I just like a little point and shoot for shooting my grandchildren, and I like the simplicity of it. It's all automatic. And I thought, I have a camera in my car that's not automatic at all. And I said, can I show it to you? And I pulled this out, and I said, can I make your portrait? And I'll make it, and I'll get you a copy for you and for your daughter in California. And he said, I have another daughter. I think he said on the East Coast. I said, then I'll make you 3 prints. He said, okay. And he said, should we change? Should we change clothes? Because when you're doing something with large format, it's special. It's extra important. People see that. And they say, oh, what should we do? Should we dress up? So I said, yeah. So they went and they changed clothes. And then they came back out, and I set up the camera. I had never used it before. And I set the focus, I set the composition, I put it on it was probably Fomapan 400 speed black and white film. And I tripped the shutter twice because a film holder has two sides. I shot 2 frames. I came home, developed the film, perfect exposures. And I made 3 prints. And then I drove back down to Denver and I gave them 3 frame prints. Because I said, these are for you and for your family. And they're like, they're framed. I'm like, I know, because it's important that I present them how they need to be seen, and I can't give you an unframed print. And they were going to send out the other 2 to their daughters. And I was very glad to be able to make that. I said, so tell them that when I came down to pick up those Nikons, I also made your portrait that I wouldn't have had a chance to make, except for I was meeting you. And because I took the initiative to say, hey, can I make a quick portrait of you? And can I use this camera to do it? And this camera definitely gets yeses that other cameras may not. And that's the beauty of large format. There's a specialness. People see it and they feel it. They know that's not using your phone and grabbing a snap. That's not taking a picture. That's making a portrait. And I'll put a link to the photos so you can see them down below. And I love doing that. If you could say, if you had no need to work for money, you could just do whatever you want, I would just make pictures of family members and people like that, and I would just gift them all day long. Because it's something that means so much that those photos will exist in those families' worlds for generations. It's probably the most important work I do. And I can afford a frame, I can afford a print, I can afford to make a photograph for something like that that's so important to me. That's something that the most special thing of all the things that I do. And sometimes I get to do it with a 5x7 camera. And you can pick these up inexpensively sometimes if you watch estate sales. If you watch online auctions, there's Auction Ninja. Take a look at what's going on in your neighborhood. You'd be surprised to see there's photography gear locally. And you can find it, you can use it, and now I just want to go out and make more 5x7 portraits. All right, that's today's photography talk. Hey, if you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support it, the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.